How's it going? We are going to check out Critical Drinkers. So, what now, Marvel? Uh, this should be interesting. I mean, it's safe to say that it hasn't been a great year for Marvel, especially in terms of performance and theaters and the box office. They haven't been doing great. And even though a lot of people have been enjoying the two most recent Marvel films, like Thunderbolts and Fantastic Four, clearly it's not enough. And yeah, I assume he's just gonna talk about it. And once again, I mentioned this previously when I did the neurotic reaction. They did upon themselves. It's their fault. They damaged their brand, and people don't trust them at all. So let's just hear what Critical Ginger has to say. And once again, follow him down below. I will link it in the description. And let's check this out.
I'd said before that 2025 was going to go down as the make or break year, not just for Marvel and DC, but for superhero movies in general. The MCU desperately needed to get back on track after years of embarrassing flops and underperformers, while James Gunn had the challenge of rebooting and relaunching the entire DC universe on film. On the Marvel front, things didn't get off to a great start, that's for sure. Brave New World turned out to be a bloated, chopped up, embarrassing mess that flopped harder than a fat influencer on a high diving boards. Thunderbolts got a slightly better reception from fans, although fuck knows why, but still failed to make any impact at the box office. That left Fantastic Four to redeem a pretty disastrous year for the franchise. And well,
not good.
Fantastic Four is a fucking flop, just like all the other Marvel movies that have come out this year. Which was interesting because it was actually pretty well received by fans and critics. Damn man, even I enjoyed it and gave it a half decent review. It had a reasonably good opening weekend and solid word of mouth, so why did it fall off harder than Rachel Zegler on and they're not coming back? 500 million is rapidly becoming the number that most.
Again, I disagree. I personally do think it is possible. They just have to do great movies, which is not hard. It really isn't. It's not hard. Just make good movies. Have writers on the team that actually care about the story, that actually care about the characters, that cares about, you know, what's being told instead of, providing or including a lot of nonsense that people don't care or ask for, or including political messaging that, again, people don't care about. And again, respect the creator, respect what was already established. And, you can make a few tweaks here and there. Not everything has to be identical to like the comics, but like make it good. Plain and simple, just make it good. And I do think it is possible for them to make it good. They just have to be consistent, which they haven't been.
People are talking about, which would be fine if movie budgets actually reflected that reality, but with $2 or even $300 million on production alone still being standard practice, well, the numbers just don't add up, and no amount of positive spin is going to change that. So why the hell did this happen? Well, partly because Marvel is a damaged brand by now. Their fan base has gradually been driven away by half a decade of mediocre movies and shitty TV shows, preachy and divisive identity politics, formulaic storytelling, dated humour, and sheer media oversaturation. They got too successful, too complacent, and too lazy, and they fell into the trap of thinking that they could just keep expanding forever.
Sheer hubris. Fucking hubris.
It really is hard to miss something that never fucking goes away, and it's even harder to get excited about it when it's basically the same experience every single time, only with different coloured spandex. Even a good Marvel movie at this point is like middle-aged sex in a stale marriage, less about the excitement and novelty of exploring.
I mean, that's true. This is why I said that the films nowadays, especially superhero films, they got to be exceptional. They got to be a masterpiece. It has to. Otherwise, people are not going to care. If it's just mediocre or if it's just okay or if it's just good, it's not good enough. They have to aim for more. They got to be hungry. They got to be, they just have to make a thrive to make something new, if possible. I think it is possible. I really do. They just have to actually, like James Gunn mentioned in his interview, he said that directors nowadays are afraid to take risks, which I completely agree. I mean, he took a risk with Superman. Even though I personally didn't like it, I know a lot of people did. It may not be for me, but that who gives a fuck? It's did okay, and a lot of people seem to like it. So, and he took a lot of risk. For example, he made Ma and Pa, or no, he made Clark's parents, from Krypton. They're not good. They're really really evil. I don't like that. I personally don't like that. I think it's dumb. But hey, people didn't seem to have a problem with that. So maybe you got to do something like that. You got to take risk. I don't know, man. Point is, it has to be exceptional. The films have to be exceptional. They can't just be mid. They
New
can't.
possibilities, and more about going through a series of familiar steps to reach the same predictable outcome. Myth number 2 is that Pedro Pascal is a serious box office draw.
Nope.
Like, can we all just accept at this point that this guy isn't really gonna happen, and all the fun and media coverage and red carpet appearances in the world aren't gonna change that? Like so many other people, I've been trying to figure out why Hollywood's been pushing this increasingly insufferable, borderline creepy 50-year-old weirdo so hard, like he's this hot young talent taking the industry by storm, and by George, I think I've got
Oh, no.
it. For whatever reason,
Oh,
Disney have made him
really?
a cornerstone of not one but two of their biggest franchises, Star Wars and Marvel.
Star Wars,
They've pinned a lot of their
Marvel,
hopes
yeah.
on this guy. They desperately need him to be a star, so they've marshaled the entire Hollywood media machine behind him to try to make him a star. The problem is, well, he isn't, and he never really has been. He's a character actor at best, solid and talented for sure, but hardly spectacular, and gassed up way beyond his league by insane overexposure. He doesn't have the charisma, the magnetism, the screen presence, or even the looks to be a top-level draw, and he's too old to grow into the role now. 50 is normally the point where most actors'
I
careers
agree.
start to decline as middle age kicks in, and the next generation of talent moves up to replace them. I don't really know why people expect his career to do the opposite, but somehow they do. Also, the meme of him being in fucking everything feels like it's evolved from a bit of niche good-natured ribbon on social media to actual widespread irritation now, proving the point that familiarity really does breed contempt. Myth number 3 is that superhero fatigue isn't a thing. Bad movie fatigue is.
Really?
Nope, superhero fatigue is absolutely a thing, and it's about time people accepted that.
Okay, now once again, this is where I gotta disagree. Again, I do agree with Critical Drinker and Neurotic and all those people for the most part, but there are things that I disagree with them. Now, yes, I agree there is some sort of superhero fatigue. I agree. But the reason why is because most films that are not great are for superhero films. Therefore, people are sick of it, right? So I do think that the main problem is the fact that these films are not good, right? And it just so happened to be that most of the not so good films are coming from superhero films. And there is definitely a lack of creativity. I think that's another issue, which I mentioned previously, that directors need to take risks. They have to take risks. They have to aim big. Otherwise, it's not going to succeed. So, yeah, I do think there is superhero fatigue, but the main problem is the fact that films nowadays are just not great. They're not memorable. That's the issue. They're not memorable. There's no memorable quotes. There's no memorable scenes. Like the special effects are not pretty to look at. It's not revolutionary. That's the issue. It doesn't really stick to a lot of people. You watch a film nowadays and you forget about it in like an hour or so and never see it again.
Movie genres rise and fall like the sun. Nothing stays popular and relevant forever, and after a quarter of a century of domination, the sun is well and truly setting on superheroes now. And by that, I don't mean they're ever going to die out and disappear completely. Just like the comics that inspired them, there's always going to be a core audience wanting more. What I mean is that general audiences, the people who bring in the bulk of the box office revenue, have lost interest and moved on to other things now. Superheroes aren't cool or
Now that might be true. Um, it could also be the fact that anime now has gotten much bigger. I don't know if people realize this, but like I feel like anime now has taken over a lot of the US. Because before, it wasn't really popping like that. I mean, if you have a Netflix account, look how much anime is on Netflix. I swear, like I want to say maybe like during COVID, there was not a lot of animes on Netflix. It was not a thing. Now they're like everywhere. And I think it's because people are starting to really like anime. And a lot of anime stories are really resonating with a lot of people because they're well written. They're brand new and they're really good to, to watch, and even manga as well. So, I mean, yeah, like there is definitely a shift. And I do agree that general audiences are now not really a fan of the superhero genre. And again, I think it's because they're not like it's the same thing over and over again. It's nothing new. So I think people are just getting sick of it.
Compelling anymore. Yeah, the decline in quality and the saturation of the market definitely speeded the process up, but the truth is,
Oh,
it was
yeah.
gonna happen eventually no matter what. Even James Gunn's Superman by James Gunn, the biggest and most iconic superhero of them all, is struggling to make much headway at the box office. The tentpole movie designed to kick off a whole new cinematic universe, arguably a day late and $1 short, is currently sitting at $550 million a month after release. At this rate,
That's
it's
not
gonna
good.
struggle to even hit 600 million. That's not just a disappointment, that's a fucking disaster. DC wheeled out the biggest gun in their arsenal for this one. See what I did there?
I see what I was
And
gonna
it
say.
barely made a dent.
Yeah.
I mean, what kind of numbers do you think Supergirl, or Clayface, or Swamp Thing are gonna do if even fucking Superman can't draw big crowds? The harsh reality
Yeah.
is that the cultural zeitgeist has shifted now. The audience is
I feel like the only superhero characters that will continue to be thriving is definitely Spider-Man, Batman, maybe Hulk. Maybe if they do a good Hulk film, I could see I could see Hulk thriving. I think that's pretty much it. It's mainly Spider-Man and Batman. Maybe Deadpool as well, because Deadpool has been doing really well too, right? I think all three films made a bill, right? If I'm not mistaken.
matured and changed, and they've left superheroes behind. All those outlandish outfits and crazy powers that were so cool and revolutionary 10 years ago seem kind of lame and dated now. A cultural holdover from a previous generation, lingering beyond its time, struggling for relevance in a world that's moved on without it. So where do we go from here? What does the future hold for superhero flicks? Well, like I said earlier, there is still a way for superhero movies to carry on and turn a profit for the studios, but it has to be based on the understanding that the market is smaller and tougher now. If 500 million is the best you can hope for at the box office, then you need to start slashing your budgets big time. 100 million is where most superhero movies
I
want to be
definitely
sitting
agree with
now,
that.
which means leaner and meaner productions, cutting down on expensive VFX and big name actors, and focusing more on quality writing. It really comes down to a choice between managed decline or complete implosion. It all sounds pretty obvious, because it is, but sometimes things that seem obvious to normal people like us seem to sail right over the heads of Hollywood executives. I don't know if they can or
Yeah.
will change, but one thing's for sure, superhero movies as we've known them for the past 20 years are over. Whether this means the start of a new era or a complete collapse of the whole genre, only time will tell.
That's
Anyway,
true. That's sad. man.
that's all I've got for today. Go away now.
So memorable. They're endless. Like you can watch it over and over and over again. But with these new films, like I don't find myself rewatching. Like even though I did enjoy Deadpool and Wolverine, I don't find myself rewatching it. There's no need to. Same thing with Endgame. I don't find myself rewatching Endgame. Aside from the final fight with, Cap, Thor, Iron Man versus Thanos, like that's the only thing I rewatch because that's really cool. I like it. That's the issue. Like it's just, I just feel like it's the same old, same old. It's nothing new. But anyways, you guys let me know what you think. Uh, hope you enjoy it, and see you guys next time. Take care.